Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me from the National Weather Service Milwaukee Sullivan, it is Tim. He's a friend of the show, and even though they're super busy over there, and I'm laughing because we got to go over and see, and the day we were there, it was just beautiful weather, and then there was this little storm, and you guys were so excited because it was such a quiet day. And quiet's good. I mean, nothing wrong with a quiet day. But right now,
Right.
we do bring you on, Tim. Thank you for being on the show. Again, we know you guys are busy right now with the heat.
Yeah, no problem. Always glad to talk to as many people as we can when stuff like this is going down.
Absolutely. And you guys have done a wonderful job, as usual, at getting the forecasts out here and getting the word out as this heat wave has been ongoing. And we've kind of hitting the peak here, as it were, coming up the next 2 days. Kind of set up the situation. Why are we getting this heat wave? And it is July, so I mean, we know that it's going to
Yeah.
happen, but what's going on here?
Yeah, so pretty solid hot air mass is down in the southern plains right now. And it's been showing this for, probably the last week or so that we're going to have that come straight up from the south up over Wisconsin on Friday. Today is kind of a shoulder day. Today and Saturday were both kind of question marks about whether or not we'd hit our thresholds. And all the rain that we had this morning could put a damper on, being able to hit those higher heat indices today. But tomorrow has been pretty solidly looking like we're going to be getting our hottest day of the year. Right in the middle, clear skies, hot, high dew points. So if there's any good news, it's that it's only going to be, kind of a short-lived 1 or 2 day, maybe 3 day thing. And then temperatures cool down, pretty seasonal, pretty nice next week. So tension's really on Friday for what is going to possibly be our hottest day of the year so far.
And you guys have a heat advisory out starting today, heads into Friday, and we're looking at that right now here, Tim. Is the excessive heat and stuff, that air mass must be coming a little bit further to the west as it's coming up this direction?
Yeah, so right now it's down to our southwest. So as the southwestern winds start to kick up, it'll push it more directly over us. Typically in these summer patterns, when you get this big dome of hot air, it's normally right along the northern fringe of it that we see all the storms kind of run along that. So that's what we're getting at this morning. So tomorrow, when those winds pick up more out of the south in the low levels, it'll push that focus more to the north and get us more directly under the core of the hot air.
Yeah, and we're looking at the heat index. Heat index. I can't say indices. It just never flows off my tongue very well here. But what is the heat index? Why do we have that in place when it comes to the hot weather?
Yeah, so it's kind of like the opposite of a wind chill. So in the wintertime, we take the air temperature and the wind speed and how that effectively cools down your body, the skin temperature. So the same thing with the heat index is we look at what the temperature is as well as the dew point. So that's our main measure for how humid an air mass is. Generally, when you get to about like 70, that's when you can really start to feel how humid it is, and it works on your body. It's harder for you to cool off when it's that hot and humid, combined together. So it's a combination index. The drier it is, the higher your temperature can go, but you don't feel it as much. So that's why we look at the heat index as our main guide for is this going to be a really bad day where people can't cool off and they're just sweating profusely. So that's what we're looking at for tomorrow, where we have a combination of it being extremely hot and very high dew points throughout the day.
Yeah, and a part of your guys' goal, besides getting the weather information out there, and certainly the safety information. A lot of summertime events going on right now. I know here in Dane County, we got the Dane County Fair going on here in the Madison area. But what are some of the reminders you would give folks right now as we continue through this heat wave?
Some of the things up front that you can do is check on your neighbors. Anybody that might be kind of living on their own and isolated, that might be elderly or have health issues, go and check on them to see that they've put in their air conditioning units, or open up their storm windows so that they can get some fresh air in the house if they get too hot. So those are some of the upfront things you can do. Otherwise, the hydration, we talk about that all the time. If you're going to these festivals, sometimes they have limits on, what you can bring in. So just, check with them first before you go, and make sure that you keep on drinking that water. The other thing that we've been kind of making awareness of is there's a number of infant fatalities that have occurred where it parents, they've got their new kid and they're sleep deprived and they haven't adjusted to their new routine of having a baby, and sometimes they'll go to a grocery store or something like that and leave the baby in the back seat. And with the windows rolled up and the hot temperatures like that, it doesn't take very long for little children like that to have some health issues occur or possibly die from that. So just trying to raise extra awareness, pay attention, and be ready for that for the next few days here.
Yeah, that's that look before you lock it campaign going on, and yeah, it's a fully preventable um, situation if you can get and really it doesn't take more than a few minutes for the car to basically turn into an oven, and especially
Yeah.
when you got temperatures in the 90s, it's you're speeding up that process. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think you guys have done a great job again getting that information out there and being proactive during this. There also is, we had storms rolling, and they're still rolling through right now as we're doing this interview. But there is a slight risk for some storms yet today. So nothing like packing the full punch here with a little bit of rain and everything. What's on the storm side of things for the heat wave here?
Yeah, so that's a little bit more uncertain. But what it looks like is as the warm front lifts back north today, after these storms roll through this morning, the expectation is that there'll be some more storms that develop this afternoon and into this evening. And with the amount of instability that we have, the conditions that are in place could have some severe weather with that. So mainly damaging winds, maybe large hail. I would say the winds is more of the concern. The large hail, when we have these really hot air masses, it can be harder to get hail to actually get down to the ground unless it's a really strong storm. So that's something that we'll be watching out for. But the heat is probably more of the issue that we're looking at. And some of the people talk about like, well, it's summer, it's hot, deal with it. And in Wisconsin here, part of it is that people's bodies haven't acclimated to the heat. If you're down in Phoenix, you're used to 100 degrees and dry conditions all the time. But it's when you're not in that hot air mass for a long time that all of a sudden you get a shot like that, and it can be stressful to people that have health issues or might be elderly.
Well, it's safe to say I think we've had quite a bit of a different summer than we usually have. So really, when we've been getting hit, it's basically gone from cool to summer, and really this is our second big shot at some hot air. So you're right
Yeah.
on getting acclimated with this can be pretty tough.
Yeah, especially if we've been kind of below normal for a lot of June, so we haven't. This will be the first time we're hitting these kind of thresholds, or that we've gone to a heat advisory yet this year. So our threshold for the heat advisory is 100-degree heat index. If it looks like we're going to be warmer, 105 is our threshold for the excessive heat warning. We typically hold off on doing that until we get a little bit closer, so that we're certain that something like this morning doesn't come through and add a lot of cloud cover and keep the temperatures down, because we want that warning to really mean something when we put it out.
Absolutely, yeah. It was kind of a little bit of a blessing that the storms came through in some capacity. Unfortunately, we know there was some lightning impacts this morning from a different part of the area here. Still
Mhm.
under your guys' watch area, but yeah,
Yeah.
that at least is keeping the heat down for now. As far, Tim, as people staying connected with you guys as this goes on, your recommendations for that.
Yeah, so the latest forecast, weather.gov/Milwaukee, or you can actually type in Madison, and that'll get you to the website as well. That's where you'll find the latest heat indexes, high temperatures, and latest information on that. We're on Facebook, NWS Milwaukee, and then also on Twitter at NWSMKX. So follow along with those. Like with any forecast, things will change. So as we get closer and closer, the more confident we are in how things are going to play out. So, stay up to date on what the latest forecast is.
As we like to say here, have multiple ways to receive those the weather information, and that's the best way to stay safe here during the summer
Yep,
season. Tim, I
definitely.
appreciate your time as always so much. Look forward to having you back on the show. You guys stay safe out there in the middle of nowhere. Now I can confirm that they are literally in the middle of nowhere, which could be safe and bad at the same time. I don't know how you rate that, but yeah, you guys have a good one. Stay cool out there.
Thanks, you too, Jeremy.
All right, that's Tim Hallback from the National Weather Service. Certainly appreciate his time as always. And again, stay up to date with the National Weather Service. We'll share the information, but make sure you check back often with them and stay ahead of the heat wave. We got to take a quick break. More to come on Talking Fitchburg. We'll be right back.